All right, welcome everyone. So we have the sixth annual Canadian Fertility Show coming up. It's going to be taking place at the International Centre in Toronto, and it's going to be on May 13th. So this year it is a in-person format, and it's going to include a trade show floor where attendees can consult live with the experts. There will also be a robust lineup of speakers on a variety of topics supporting multiple areas of family planning. So today we're talking with two of those expert speakers that will be at the Canadian Fertility Show. We have Dr. Olivia Rose as well as Dr. Jennifer Strong, who are both naturopathic doctors. And we'll be exploring the topics of sperm health as well as hormone health, including factors that can impact your hormone health and strategies for improving chances of successful conception. So welcome. First off, we've got Dr. Olivia Rose, naturopathic doctor here. Hello. Dr. Olivia Rose is a naturopathic doctor as well as a writer and a speaker with over 16 years of experience. She's the owner of Rose Health Clinic, which is a multidisciplinary clinic in Toronto. She's built a thriving practice where she collaborates with her colleagues in a holistic, patient-centered environment. And her clinical focus is on digestive and immune health, stress management, infertility, weight management, skin rejuvenation. I know you do have a skincare line, as well as chronic disease prevention. And Dr. Olivia Rose is a regular wellness contributor on Global News Morning, as well as many other educational podcasts and online publications. So welcome, Dr. Olivia Rose. And today we are going to be speaking about endocrine, hormone disruptors, and fertility. And we also have Dr. Jennifer Strong here, also a naturopathic doctor, and she is committed to supporting her patients' health goals and providing sound advice that can easily be incorporated into a person's lifestyle, which is amazing. We need that easy approach, right? So her approach provides evidence-based treatment plans that empower her patients to make positive health choices and better their outcomes. And today, Dr. Jennifer Strong, naturopathic doctor, will be speaking about, the evidence that is telling us really the new evidence about sperm health. So amazing. I'm so glad that you both can be here for this discussion. And I think we're going to get right into it. So Dr. Olivia Rose, welcome. First off, I know you're talking about hormone disruptors at the Canadian Fertility Show on May 13th. Can you explain to us what a hormone disruptor is?
Yes, for sure. And thank you so much for having me in that wonderful introduction. And so, hormone disruptors are basically, I call them pesky chemicals that exist in our environment, in the products we use, in our food supply, that once we're exposed to it, once it's absorbed through our skin or ingested, can actually influence the way our regular hormones, our endogenous hormones, act and react. So, these are mimickers of our hormones. We call them like xenoestrogens, for example, is an example where if it's ingested or absorbed, it can interact with our receptors and lead to different regulation and production issues of our and influence our normal hormones in our body. So yeah, it's there. It's pesky. A lot of industry is involved in terms of these types of chemicals leaching into our environment and then affecting us in many ways. And there's been studies showing that a lot of these hormone disruptors can impact our fertility in a negative way as well, which is not good.
Yeah. And so these hormone disruptors, and I know you mentioned like, in our environment, or that you can actually, take them in through, perhaps foods or on your skin. So there are different forms of them. And I'm assuming they may be in a lot of the products that we purchase every day, right? So really,
Exactly.
looking out for those. Yeah. So if you can
Yeah,
maybe go through some of the things
sure.
that we may, be exposed to just really in our daily lives that we're really not realizing.
For sure. One of the number one places where you're going to find hormone disruptors is in your plastics. So plastics that containers that we carry our food and drink in, especially if you heat your plastic, or if you're storing anything that's acidic in your plastics, like tomato sauces or vinegars, you can leach certain chemicals from that plastic known as bisphenol A and phthalates. These are plasticizers. And these are two chemicals that have been shown to impact your fertility in a negative way.
Yeah.
So that's one. You want me to continue and add a couple of more to that list? Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I
okay,
mean,
yeah.
there's I'm sure there's so many,
There's a
right?
lot. So let me
So
give you a
yeah,
couple examples. So plastics is one, pesticides is another one, especially a group of pesticides called the organochlorines. These are older pesticides that actually are still present in the environment, which can have an issue or provide an issue to our body and the way we metabolize our hormones. So one way to avoid some of that issue with pesticides is to try to eat organic whenever you can. Go to the Environmental Working Group, which is an organization in the U.S. where they produce every year a wonderful list of the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So the Dirty Dozen produce would be the ones that you would most likely want to buy organic. They have the highest pesticide residues. So that's one way to like get around the pesticides. And so I go through that a lot in clinic with people who are trying to conceive, to help them at least adjust. We know produce is expensive. We know, things are going up in price out there, but but using that list is one way to navigate that and make some really quick changes to your family's lifestyle and to your diet to avoid some of these chemicals. Personal care products, of course. Personal care products are a big one. Our skin's the largest organ in the body, right? So personal care products will include parabens and phthalates again. So phthalates, we mentioned them before with respect to the plastics. And phthalates are interesting because not only are they in plastics, but they're also in fragrances. So anything that's fragrances, a fragrance. So if you look at your product that you're using on your skin and it says fragrance or parfum, we know that that's going to include phthalates. So one way around that is to try to choose some unscented products. That's the one thing you can do right off the bat. And then, of course, cleaning products, same thing. People can be very married to their cleaning products. The whole idea, especially if you have, pets and kids, you really want to try to make your home smell good. But that's an area where you want to really try to move towards more natural cleaning supplies, whether it's you're making your own or looking towards natural solutions that aren't using chemicals, aren't using phthalates and heavy fragrances as well. So those would be the top ones that I often discuss in practice with patients.
amazing. Yeah, and I think we're really lucky nowadays that there are great alternatives, right? That we can choose and shop for. So
Mhm.
yeah. So, in terms of those hormone disruptors now, you will be speaking at the Canadian Fertility Show. How do those hormone disruptors actually impact fertility, and what are some of the potential long-term effects of exposure?
Yeah, there's actually research is mounting. It's not all there, but we are starting to see some things appear, especially when it comes to fertility. So things like low sperm quality and quantity, irregular menstrual cycles, risking increased risk of miscarriage, birth defects, timing of puberty in children as well is starting to become affected by this. It's suggested in the research. So those are some things that we're seeing. And so, even when we're dealing with the puberty issue and parents are coming in and they're suspecting some precocious puberty, some of the things we do is work on eliminating or reducing the environmental chemical exposure as much as possible.
Yeah, that's some great information and really just makes us, more aware about the different products that we're choosing. So wonderful. Okay, now what steps can a person really take to reduce their exposure to these hormone disruptors and protect their reproductive health?
For sure. Well, starting from the top, we talked about the plastic. So if you're able to switch to glass containers or stainless steel, that's a good first step. Choosing the organic foods, I had mentioned looking at the environmental working group, looking at their list that they produce every year, starting to make some of those changes, at least trying to buy the produce that you eat the most organic if you can. Your natural personal care. So trimming that down, looking for items that are not fragranted, filtering your water with reverse osmosis or at least activated carbon filter can help get rid of some of those pesky chemicals, those pesticide residues, especially one called perchlorate, which can disrupt your thyroid function. And then the last thing is a simple thing, especially, here in Toronto where we have these long winters, would be to ventilate your space. So, especially after sitting at home with the windows closed for a very long period of time, choose a HEPA filter, open the windows, let the air go through, and just, let the air circulate.
Amazing. Yeah, those are some great, great ideas that I think everybody can take away right now and start implementing into their daily lives. So wonderful information. Thank you so much. And I know you will be having, a longer talk at the Canadian Fertility Show, but this has been some great information to really get people interested, and hopefully they can come and check out your talk and listen to the rest of it. So thank you so much, Dr. Olivia. I am now going to move on to speaking with Dr. Jennifer Strong. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, yes, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so just, completely different topics in a sense. Obviously, we're talking about, fertility and things that can impact our fertility. And I know you're going to be speaking about sperm health at the fertility show. So if we can maybe just get started with even talking about food. So how do some food choices affect sperm health and really the chances of conceiving?
Yes, so food choices definitely play a huge role in how sperm develops and matures. Your nutrients and calories that come from your foods will carry into the sperm and help it grow. So choosing the proper diet or choices for what best serves your overall health often benefits the sperm. Studies often support Mediterranean guidelines in terms of overview of what would most be beneficial. Mediterranean guidelines give all the macros and the micronutrients that we're looking for in sperm production. So ideal nutrients like the amino acids and vitamins and minerals are important. But basically, at the end of the day, food choices in whatever supports your overall health is best. Sometimes we look at more paleo guidelines for those who are looking to maybe balance out their weight a little bit better. Sometimes we'll look at anti-inflammatory guidelines if allergies are also a part of the picture. So, so definitely looking at the whole person when we're looking at food choices.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. And I guess we also have to think not just about food, but also in terms of our lifestyle, right? So other things like exercise. So this is a question, does, actual regular exercise impact male fertility?
Yeah, for a few different reasons, it definitely does. Regular exercise at a moderate level routinely does help with blood flow everywhere in the body, especially to the pelvic organs. So when we're looking at supporting nutrient flow to support the sperm and the fluids that it travels in, we definitely want to get good blood flow to the pelvic organs to get that there. Exercise supports mood. So when we're looking at overall male health and libido, we definitely want to support mood. Sometimes that fertility process can be a little bit stressful. So definitely exercise can get you a little bit of an endorphin kick that supports mood and overall health. And with that, definitely supports sexual function as well. Exercise again, on a moderate level, does support reducing inflammation and reducing the oxidative stress. So again, overall, but definitely on sperm health as well. When we look at exercise and weight, weight definitely plays a role in sperm health. So when weight goes up a little bit, higher than ideal, it does decrease testosterone levels, which is definitely needed for sperm health. It can also decrease sperm count and volume. So when we're looking at the semen analysis and those stats on what we want to see, often we see a correlation between weight and those numbers. Another feature with weight, as weight goes up, body temperature goes up, and we need to keep those sperm at a healthy temperature so that they can mature properly.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting information. I like how you mentioned like moderate exercise, right? So there studies out that are showing moderate versus like high intensity versus lower rates of exercise, like that type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. So with exercise, if exercise is excessive, again, it does heat up the body quite a bit. So I think of, those marathon runners who are exercising for quite a few hours a day and their body temperature is high. It's not ideal for sperm health. Also with high intensity exercise drives up cortisol levels, puts your body in more of that sympathetic or that fight or flight mode, which shifts where the nutrients need to go. So moderate's ideal. Moderate feels like a good feeling. So you finish your workout, you feel refreshed and energized, not drained or exhausted.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Okay, that's great. And then also, I'm sure there are, nutrients that we need to think about. And I think this is great in terms of, people who are coming to see you can really get that full package of like, these are the types of foods that you should be eating. This is the type of exercise, right? So like you're putting together a full, a full plan for them of where their needs are. And, but then there's also, I'm sure, specific nutrients that they should also be thinking about in terms of incorporating into their diet and life. So are there specific nutrients that can be used really to improve semen analysis?
Yeah, definitely. So this is where we dig a little deeper and see what would be most applicable for each person. We could pretty much justify each nutrient having some sort of role in sperm health. But when we meet with our patients, we're looking at, what's low in their diet, what's needed ideally for, what their semen analysis shows or what their blood work is showing. And then we try to find nutrients that support that. So often what we're looking at is the minerals. So specifically like your selenium, your zinc, copper, manganese, magnesium, those are really important in sperm health. Those nutrients are found in the sperm and in the seminal fluid. So having ideal amounts of those is needed. There is such thing as too much of a good thing. So the balance is important, especially with minerals. Too much of one causes deficiency of another. So we look at food sources and how well they're digesting them. And then we supplement if they're not ideal levels. Amino acids come to mind as well. So carnitine and NAC play a huge role in terms of antioxidant support. Often we see carnitine levels low in those who don't love meat. So I think of our vegetarians and our vegans. So we look at either supplement sources or how we can find that in other foods. And NAC as well has a huge role in reducing oxidative stress. So it really drives up the glutathione levels, which is helpful for sperm nutrition. And then I think of antioxidants just in general. So this is where your vitamins play a huge role. So our fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin E are important. Our B12 or folic acid. So again, we look at food sources and digestion and see which ones may not be ideal in their diet, and we can talk about food sources and supplement where necessary. Blood work is sometimes helpful with a few of those nutrients. It gives us a good idea of what's going on a cellular level as well.
Wow, this is some really great information. Thank you so much, Dr. Jennifer. This has been wonderful, as well as Dr. Olivia. Really appreciate you both, giving us this information. Again, please, come out and join us at the Canadian Fertility Show on May 13th. And you can come and listen to Dr. Olivia as well as Dr. Jennifer in terms of, speaking even further and more in depth on these topics. So really looking forward to that. And again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for
Thank you for having us.
All right, take care.